What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I wanted to talk about something that's very, very unappreciative and very, very irresponsible as former undefeated unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 2. Some even had him at number 1 pound for pound, top 5 definitely pound for pound best fighters in the world, in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, Errol Spence, throughout his career, dared to be great. Errol Spence, throughout his career, gave us the fights we've been looking for. Errol Spence, throughout his career, never shortchanged the fans or the sport of boxing. Errol Spence, for sure, has enjoyed the fruits of his labor outside the sport of boxing. He even admitted that. Hence the reason why he suffered that horrific car accident October of 2019, just 10 days after unifying the belts against 2-time welterweight world champion, now retired future Hall of Fame superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter, in Los Angeles, California. Just 10 days later, Errol Spence suffered a horrific car accident where we saw his white Ferrari tumbling down the street and him thrown from it, and we didn't even know what was going to make of that. We didn't know if he was going to walk again. We didn't know if he was going to talk again. We didn't know if he was going to look the same. We knew nothing. And to Errol Spence's credit, he didn't even know if he was going to walk, talk, or look the same anymore. He just didn't know that. It was the unknown, right? And so, with that said, Errol Spence, he continued to dare to be great, even after that. And yes, we know Errol Spence was partying and drinking and ballooning up in weight, where he stated he had to have weight loss camps. Errol Spence learned his lesson after the car accident. But even during that time, Errol Spence never shortchanged us. He never missed weight on the scale. He never not gave it his all in the ring. We never saw Errol Spence shortchanging and taking money from the fans. He never was in fights we didn't ask for. He always tried to make the best fights possible. Even up to date, to last Saturday, to this day, Errol Spence conceded to everything to make sure that we got the biggest fight in 40 years happening. And that was against undefeated, now 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning undisputed welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be the number 1 best pound for pound fighter in the world, in Terence "Bud" Crawford. Terence Crawford is now 40 wins, no losses, no draws. He's 31 wins by way of knockout. He's 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. They fought last Saturday, July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena, in the most anticipated fight in the last 15 years. Definitely the last 10 years. Since Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, 2015. So I would say the last going on 10 years. As far as competition-wise, it was the biggest fight in 40 years, competitive-wise. On paper, the most 50-50 fight there is, if there ever was one, since September 16, 1981. History was on the line for both guys. For Errol Spence, history was on the line for him to have the opportunity to become the first undisputed 4 major sanction belt welterweight world champion. History was on the line for Terence Crawford, for him to become the first welterweight 4 major sanction belt world champion, and the first male to become undisputed in 2 separate weight classes. And he became the first undisputed 4 major sanction junior welterweight world champion. So history was on the line. September 16, 1981, we had Thomas the Hitman Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard. That was the last time we had a fight that was no doubt a 50-50 fight on paper. Now, we had the Floyd Mayweather fight with Manny Pacquiao. But Manny Pacquiao had already been brutally knocked out 3 times, had multiple losses and draws on his resume. So there was no doubt that Manny Pacquiao, well, he knew how to lose. And Floyd Mayweather being an undefeated 5-division champion, an icon, arguably the greatest fighter ever, and a defensive wizard, well, we knew, the majority of the people knew, 90% knew, that Floyd Mayweather was going to disarm and defeat Manny Pacquiao. The only people that was believing otherwise was the people that truly wanted to see Floyd Mayweather finally have a blemish on his record. So here we have Errol Spence, suffered the car accident, came back 14 months later, December 5th of 2020, took on and defeated 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia. Dominated Danny Garcia, nearly broke his orbital bone. Then he was scheduled August of 2021, actually August 21st of 2021, to face off against legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. A marquee fight, a legendary fight, a unification bout for Errol Spence. Errol Spence suffered a broken nor detached retina, a serious eye injury that saw him removed from the ring again for another year. He then had a replacement, Cuban star boxer Yordenis Ugas, who filled in for him, dominated Manny Pacquiao, won all but maybe 2 to 3 rounds, became the official WBA super welterweight world champion. Errol Spence then come back April 22nd, 2022, Dallas, Texas, AT&T Cowboy Stadium. Fights Yordenis Ugas, unification bout, breaks his ribs, nose, and orbital bone, stops him in the 10th round, becomes a 3-belt welterweight world champion. Even after suffering the eye injury, he didn't take tune-ups. Even after suffering the car accident, he didn't take tune-ups. Even after having a year layoff after the Ugas fight, he didn't take a tune-up. After being pushed in the direction to fight tune-ups and former unified WBA welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who is 30 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He is 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 69-inch arm reach. This is a fight since March of 2017. Keith Thurman unified the belts against the same Danny Garcia. Just a month, 2 months later, Errol Spence wins his first world title, the IBF title, from British IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Special K Kell Brook in the UK. He dominates Kell Brook, breaks his orbital bone, stops him in the 11th round, becomes a world champion. He then pleads to unify the belts against Keith Thurman, whom decides that Errol Spence was going to sit on the shelf and wait until their fight got better and more seasoned. Keith Thurman misjudged the fight. It never happened. He lobbied. He campaigned for the fight with Keith Thurman. It never happened. Keith Thurman continued to tell Errol Spence, you got to wait your turn. It'll happen eventually. It never happened. And so with that said, he was being pushed to fight Keith Thurman. Errol Spence stood on his square, said, listen, I'm not going to fight Keith Thurman. I'm going to wait for Terence Bud Crawford. Although the negotiations wasn't working out the way Terence Crawford wanted him, because he was willing to stand on his square for what he felt he was worth. And it all paid off for Terence Crawford. He was 1,000% correct. And so with that said, Errol Spence then decided, you know something, if Terence Crawford feels like this is what he's worth to make this fight happen, he conceded to him. And they both were successful. The fight has reportedly did over 700,000 pay-per-views. They both will get a guaranteed purse of $25 million at least. Pay-per-view back-end money. They both were successful. The fight was successful. They did the 6th highest gate in Las Vegas boxing history at 21 million. A gate. So, with that said, Errol Spence is now take the fight with Terence Crawford. He gets dominated. No doubt about it. He got dominated in this fight. There's no doubt about that. He got dropped 3 times. He arguably only won the first round. He then get battered and get stopped in the 9th round. The referee seen enough. But he never stopped coming. He never wavered. He didn't call it quits. His corner didn't throw it in the towel. He kept getting up. He kept coming forward. He showed the heart and the dog that he is. And after the fight, after everybody was clamoring for this, anticipating this, what we do is clown Errol Spence for the way he looked in the fight. The photos, the still photos that was taken. We clown Errol Spence for immediately saying that he want to get back in there. He want to get his lick back. He want his get back. He want to run it back. He don't want to leave things how they were. We clown him and say, there's no need for that. We don't want to see it. I see jokes from his own community, his own African-American community, celebrities, entertainers, actors, people that said they supported Errol Spence, people that said they supported the sport of boxing. They're clowning Errol Spence. And I have no problem with you wanting to gloat if you felt like Terence Crawford was the better man. The community was split down the middle. That's one thing I never liked. Pitting one side against the other side. Another thing I never liked. And Errol Spence gave it all he had. He left nothing for chance. He wasn't able to do anything with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford showed there was levels. And that's okay. And Errol Spence is looking to pick himself back up. And yet his own community is choosing to clown him. And poke fun of him. And make memes of him. This is why you don't get the best fighting the best. This is why fighters don't want to concede to what the fans ask for. This is why they don't appreciate the fans. This is why. There's no reason to clown Errol Spence. If you thought he won, Terence Crawford that is, in a dominating fashion, beat up and battered Errol Spence, you well in your right. But we should be uplifting Errol Spence. He gave it everything he had. He left nothing outside the ring. He left it all in the ring. He came up against the better man. He got dominated, for sure. But to make memes about how he looked, comparing him to the character of Martin Lawrence, publicly, entertainers, actors, to shame him. You have Paul Pierce come out and say he's no truth. Paul Pierce's nickname was the truth. Well, Paul Pierce, you came up short. I remember the Miami Heat dominating you. I remember the Lakers beating you in the finals. You came up short. I remember Kobe Bryant taking Paul Pierce to school in the finals. You came up short. So were you no truth? No, Errol Spence is the truth. Because he gave us these fights. And he's willing to do it again. Even at his worst moments, he never wavered. Congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford. He proved no doubt he is the best fighter in the world. He proved no doubt there's levels between him and Errol Spence. There's no doubt about that. And I give Terence Crawford all the praise in the world. And I will never stop screaming his name to the mountaintops, how he's dominated his era. But this is not an opportunity to kick Errol Spence while he's down. Clown him. This is the opportunity for us to uplift him, get behind him and say, hey, see if you can do it again. That's what life is about, dusting yourself off. It's not about how hard you fall, it's about how hard you're willing to get up and fast you're willing to get up. So salute to Errol Spence, man. And I'm ashamed of this community. We did it with Deontay Wilder. We did it with Mike Tyson. We call for these fights. And when they give us the fights and it turns out not in their favor or they get dominated and then we choose to make fun of them and kick them while they're down. No. It's disrespectful. It's irresponsible. And it's bogus. Shouts out to Errol Spence, man. Blessings to you. And blessings to Terence Crawford. And once again, thank y'all for giving us what we asked for. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.